1978, and I was on the original longest walk from Alcatraz to Washington, D.C. It's important to understand what that walk was about. We sit here today, and we think about it was an affirmation of indigenous sovereignty. We used the word Indian sovereignty then. It was an affirmation of indigenous sovereignty. Because what that walk started out as was a response to 11 pieces of anti-Indian legislation. And one of those bills wanted to abrogate all Indian treaties. And so this walk was started by a number of people, including Dennis Banks, Bill Wapapaw, Faye Roman, Sid Welch, people that I don't remember too much anymore. And when it started with a ceremony at Alcatraz. As you know, Alcatraz was considered to be the birthplace of the Red Power movement when the United Indian of all tribes occupied it from 69 to 71. And from there, of course, the American Indian movement came to the fore, and especially with and it came in national prominence with the occupation of Wounded Knee, or the liberation of Wounded Knee in 1973. And from that time forward, people haven't looked back. There's been a number of occupations, a number of walks, and that was a very hectic time back in the 70s. And so this walk was a little bit different than what had happened before. Because it wasn't a reaction, it became something else. It became not just a reaction to bills, it wasn't a protest march. It was a spiritual walk that was affirming indigenous sovereignty. We were quite clear about that from Nevada onwards. When we walked through Nevada and Utah, that kind of a walk hadn't been done before. It was the middle of winter, we didn't have tents, and I don't know how the hell we got through without getting frostbite, but we did. And we would walk, we only had bread and honey, we didn't have any resources or anything. And we'd walk, that would be our whole meal. And then sometimes you'd be walking and there'd be some Paiute elders would have come down, or some Shoshone elders, and we'd have this be on the side of the road with a pot of soup. And we really looked forward and appreciated that. That's how it was back then. And as we walked across, the walk grew. By the time we got to Washington, D.C., there were at least 10,000 Indians walking through, and many thousands of allies, what we call allies now. So, this walk had a history. And those of us that were on this walk, we formed some bonds, and there were strong bonds. And we've all become involved with the American Indian movement since that walk. And a lot of us went back and we were part of something called A.I.M Survivor Group out of Oakland, California. And we supported many different Indian issues throughout the land, and we were a pretty strong group. And through that effort, and because of that thinking that was involved with that walk, we went on to many different places, many different things. One of us ended up in Alcatraz, getting married, having 3 daughters. And we have 3 daughters with our daughters that are 20, 15, and 15. And in 2008, there was a commemoration walk. And the spirit of that walk lived on, because it was about affirming indigenous sovereignty. And what does that mean, indigenous sovereignty? That's what we want to ask people. That's what we want people to think about. That's the question that we carry. That's our message that we carry. The question is, what does indigenous sovereignty mean to you? What does indigenous sovereignty mean to your family? What does indigenous sovereignty mean to your nation? And what does indigenous sovereignty mean to us as indigenous peoples? And I say indigenous peoples on purpose because these issues of indigenous sovereignty aren't based on federal recognition, or Canadian recognition, or New Zealand recognition, or Colombian recognition, or Mexico recognition. It's not based on nation-state recognition. It's based on something that's inherent, something that always existed and continues to exist. And it's something based on our ceremonies, and it's based on power and control. It's based on responsibility and respect. And sometimes as human beings, we get sidetracked with all these different things, and it's important to come back and remember that. And this walk is not about bringing a message to Washington, D.C. We've done that a couple of times, 3 times. This walk is about bringing a message back for our own indigenous peoples. It's about rebuilding that whole notion of what bird power means, what indigenous rights mean, what indigenous sovereignty means. And it's a message that's going back to our own people and to our allies to support that message. Not to dictate to us that message, not to impose their frameworks on us, but to walk with us in that way. And so that's what we're doing there. We're a small group. We have our little issues every now and again. But we're doing what we can to bring this message across. We're carrying these 60 staffs, and You know, I really appreciate everybody, the children that have to come join us, and I'm really glad that they came and joined us. And really appreciate Jonathan that come and join us, and Emilio, and Tahoe is, Lisa, and Sharon, and the boys, Gordo, Susanna, Big Man, Jungle, Kyle, and Mark. And we're really grateful, Craig and Don Maurice, we're really grateful for everybody that has walked with us for a day or an hour. And so I just want to say at this time that it's really important that you carry this message in your head, you sleep on it, and you spread the word. Spread the word about this message, because this message is really important now. We're so caught up in, and this is no offense, but we're so caught up in the colonial frameworks that when we walk, we talk about whose land, who were the original peoples of this land. It wasn't Indiana or Ohio or Ohio or West Virginia or Colorado. The original peoples of this land are the territories that we should be recognizing. That's what we ask people to think about too. Who are the original peoples of this land? Honor those people. Even if they're not here anymore. Even if they've been moved somewhere else. That's a thought that we just like to leave with people as well. And so at this point, whoever wants to go next, I just thank you for your time. Any volunteers here? Speak now, forever hold your peace. August can come up and say a few words. He has volunteered to do that. Bring your drum, speak with the drum. He's strong. But doesn't he look nice, dressed the way he's dressed? We call him the Indian GQ. Thank you.
Ja, skjønner svaret. Ja, med en hogg som gäster.